It began with silence, a silence so heavy you could feel it pressed against your chest when you woke and held you down when you sat up. Franklin Heights at dawn, streets empty, lights flickering, the wind soft against the concrete. That's where Elijah Dorsey lived his life, in the moments before others stirred. Because those moments were honest. They were without masks, without the polished shoes and the false smiles, without laughter at someone's back, without whispered dismissals. Elijah lived in a cramped apartment above a laundromat. Peeling paint, thin walls, a view of the alley behind the hospital where his mother once lay dying. He woke each day before sunrise, the creaking boards underfoot his first reminder. He was still here, still breathing, still holding on to something fragile. Hope. Some mornings, he smelled the coffee from his neighbor's kitchen. Other mornings, sirens. Other mornings, silence. Always a mixture. He would wash, shave roughly, dress in his work jacket and overalls, tie his boots tight. Then he would walk. The walk was 45 minutes long through cracked sidewalks, past shuttered shops, past people whose faces were familiar in their tired resignation. He kept his head low. He didn't want attention, because attention could be dangerous. It could be expensive. It could remind him of what he lost. When he arrived at Ridgemont Corporate Tower, everyone else was already there. Cars glossed under streetlights, security officers in neat jackets, receptionists in tumble of pleated skirts or pressed suits. The doors opened for them. For Elijah, the revolving doors spun and spat him out again. He entered via the service entrance. The elevator he took sometimes smelled of damp and rust. The lights flickered. The floor indicator buzzed. At the top, he carried his mop, bucket, cleaning solutions, rags, gloves. The floors demanded polish. The brass handles begged for shine. The windows needed streaks wiped away, even though the sun rarely touched some of them. He cleaned. He buffed. He waxed. He swept. He scrubbed grout. He climbed ladders to dust light fixtures. He lingered at walls, polishing the brass nameplate, Ridgemont Corporate Tower. He paused sometimes, fingertips dragging across the cool metal, imagining it was his mother's name engraved there. Imagining that if he pressed hard enough, he could leave his own mark, but they treated him like he had none. They called him janitor boy behind his back. They assumed he was illiterate, unambitious, irrelevant. Victor Hargrave, in his penthouse office 40 floors up, never even registered Elijah's name. He saw a figure in overalls, mop in hand, moving shadows across marble. If Elijah tripped on something, the security guard would scold him. If a spill wasn't cleaned fast enough, a whispered complaint would echo. Harriet, the receptionist, would bump past him, eyes averted. Junior executives sneered if he entered their path. Every insult, every dismissal, they piled atop Elijah's bones. Some nights, the weight threatened to break him. The bitterness was sharp. Sometimes he'd stand in front of the mirror, just after shower, stare at his face, trying to believe in the man reflected, trying to find the boy with the wide eyes who once believed he could change something. That boy had wanted to build bridges, engines, robots, medicines maybe, anything that mattered. Then his mother got sick. IT started slow. Coughs, fevers, nights of delirium. He worked 2 jobs then, cleaning, delivery driving. Used every spare dollar to cover bills. There was a time he paused over the acceptance letter from MIT. He touched the envelope, held it close. But the hospital's bills swelled beyond what scholarship and loans could cover. His mother's face in pain. The promise of education seemed absurd when life was burning. So he left school, came home, cared for her, tried everything. And then, when her breath slowed and the machines beeped one last time, he held her hand and listened to silence again. In that moment, he lost more than his mother. He lost the possibility of what life might have been. The world moved forward without him. After she passed, grief was a stain that would not wash away. Friends drifted. Opportunities came and went. Ridgemont Tower became his world. The hallways, the cleaning closet, the basement storage, the service elevators, and then Victor Hargrave's footprints. Victor Hargrave, a man born into wealth, rose faster than most. Media empires, real estate, hospitals, private equity deals that swallowed neighborhoods, system after system. Some praised him, others despised him. Truth is, people feared him. He was clever. He was ruthless. He cared about one thing more than anything: power and control. His hospitals operated on lean budgets. often sparing no expense on marketing but skimping on staff. His charities were window dressing. His speechwriters knew that if Victor could make people believe he had a heart, even for a moment, then all else could be hidden behind that facade. His influence stretched across mayors, judges, hospital boards, corporate partnerships. When Elijah first started at Ridgemont, Victor Hargrave was a name, a headline, a silhouette on TV, someone people cursed behind their hands, but not someone they feared as present. Not until Elijah saw his face, heard his voice over speakers, his name on documents that passed over too many anxious hands, contracts that ignored safety, hospitals that collapsed, neighborhoods that shrank, people pushed out. Not until he realized Victor's decisions had killed more than his mother, they killed hope for many, and hurt more families than just his. Elijah carried that knowledge like a secret. It was a weight, but also a fire. If he could not bring his mother back, he could bring change that would outlive Victor's towers. And that is how Project Horizon came to matter. Project Horizon was born backstage conversation, tinted glass, corporate dinners. Pitch decks promised empowerment, data-driven uplift, financial inclusion. But the fine print, hidden in footnotes, contracts no one would read, promised harvesting of personal data, artificial suppression of Black entrepreneurship, market manipulation, political influence, targeting vulnerable communities, all under the guise of help. It was systemic violence dressed as salvation. Elijah overheard the first word of it by chance. A security guard dropping a phone, a spilled coffee, papers skidding across polished wood. Something about Horizon. Something about pop-ups in Black neighborhoods and discount codes that directed customers to Victor's stores instead of others. He paused in the corridor, hands on mop bucket, eavesdropping. The voices were casual. The think tank consultant was proud. The VP was smug. The plan was perfect for them. Extract, exploit, expand, repeat. For months afterward, Elijah collected scraps of truth, receipts, internal memos, architecture of software, an algorithm's blueprint. Late nights at the building, when fewer people were around, he slipped past remote offices, gathered data from discarded tablets, rescued broken laptops destined for the dumpster, and turned them into tools. He learned network protocols, server structure. He scavenged supplies, taught himself lines of code he'd forgotten, relearned mathematics, cryptography, cybersecurity. Every shift, every mop, every bucket, every crooked glare from a manager who assumed he was dumb, all of it fed into the plan that he built a system, not to destroy, but to expose, to rip off the veil, to make the powerful answer for what they had done in the dark. Meanwhile, life at Ridgemont continued an elegant illusion. Victor spoke at conferences, his image immaculate. Ribbon cuttings in poor neighborhoods, free clinics, plaques with his name in gold letters, philanthropic donations that filled newspapers. He presented himself as savior, as someone who lifted up people less fortunate. Promoted his charity gala, the Tech Visionaries Gala, the donors, the elites, the press, the lights, the champagne. Only the strong will survive, he said in one speech. Innovation is for those who dare to lead. Behind that phrase was a violence Elijah recognized. Innovation for him meant removing obstacles by any means. Cleaning up neighborhoods meant pushing out people who were dirty, inconvenient, messy. Helping meant controlling. In the evenings, Elijah lay on his small cot in that cramped apartment. Listened to old lectures on engineering. Read through law precedents. Watched interviews of corporate whistleblowers. He almost didn't sleep. He dreamed of pushing back, not with violence, but with truth, with something that could be seen, felt, unavoidable. There were nights he thought twice. What if he were caught? What would they do? Label him trespasser, thief, hacker? Would they sue him? Arrest him? His past didn't give him leverage. No big name, no prestigious degree. If Victor Hargrave dared to drag him into court, who would believe Elijah? Who would listen? He had no fame, no platform, but he had moral clarity. And at the edge of his doubt, he found purpose. Then came the moment when chance and courage collided. It was late August when a storm knocked out power in several blocks of Franklin Heights. Ridgemont Tower's emergency generators hummed, but inside, systems flickered. Among the chaos, Elijah saw opportunity. He slipped into a restricted area, climbed into server room A, observed how cooling units were wired, how back doors into the building's network were arranged. He memorized schedules of security patrols. He hid in supply closets while elevators passed. In one such closet, he found a forgotten directory of internal departments: Horizon Analytics, Horizon Client Outreach, Hargrave Ventures Digital. Names that had never been on public websites. Names that spoke of complexity, of hidden reach. He photographed folder names, captured wiring diagrams, extracted log files, tape recordings he had made months earlier of executives discussing numbers that meant lives. All of it stored carefully on encrypted drives he smuggled home nightly in a canvas handbag beneath soiled uniforms and mop buckets. When the storm cleared, everyone exhaled. Victor Hargrave appeared in the press, ensuring all systems safe, praising Ridgemont's resilience, offering reassurance. He gave speeches about public service and community strength, but Elijah, in his apartment, watched the president of Ridgemont Tower on every news channel. He watched Victor's smiling face, and he saw through it all: the lies, the hypocrisy, the fiction of help, when underneath, profits were built on suffering that he counted down the days to the gala. Because he knew that was when everything would either be revealed or lost, the invitation arrived months prior. Tech Visionaries Gala, Ridgemont Tower's grandest event of the year. The seating charts, the gold invitation cards, the donor lists, the sponsors, elite media partners, influencers, politicians, celebrities, black leaders, white leaders, people of color, people with power, people hungry for proximity to power, all gathered in the ballroom 40 stories up, beneath crystal chandeliers, mirrored ceilings, marble pillars. Victor Hargrave stood at the core. He would deliver the keynote, introduce Project Horizon as his crowning achievement. He'd talk soaring language about lifting up the underserved, bridging access gaps, economic parity through data. And cameras would eat it up. Patrons would nod. Donations would flow. Media coverage, awards, prestigious accolades, more influence, more profit. Elijah prepared. The back door was ready. The server network mapped. The mirror servers synchronized. The voice clones, the badge clones, all ready. He had doubled down on security in his plan. For once, not cleaning up messes, but ensuring that he wouldn't be seen before he wanted to be seen. He arranged safe routes. He coded covering logs. He built plausible deniability. He rehearsed his heart's rhythm, slow, steady, unmoving. On the night of the gala, the sky threatened rain. The glass facade of Ridgemont reflected flashes of lightning. Black clouds approached. There was a tension in the air, as if the city itself held its breath, waiting. Elijah arrived early, as usual, but tonight his uniform carried something else. A pack under his jacket, a camera clipped hidden under the collar, a USB drive heavy in his pocket. His mop bucket, nothing more than camouflaged. He wheeled his bucket through the corridors, through the staff entrance, past the kitchens, past the service elevators. Smiled at the bold waiters rearranging silver trays. Listened to laughter, champagne corks popping, the soft hum of orchestras tuning strings. He paused at a mirror in the hallway. His reflection, dark circles under eyes, calloused hands, threadbare uniform. But he straightened his shoulders, gave himself a nod. He looked like the janitor people ignored. But tonight, he would not be ignored. That he wheeled his bucket into the cleaning closet near the ballroom entrance. Set the bucket down. Opened the closet door just a crack. Heard voices. Should have been desk clerks, servers, tinkling glasses. Instead, he heard Victor's voice, strong, smooth, confident, and another voice, young, fearful. A junior executive, maybe 27, voice shaking. The exec said, "Sir, are you sure about these algorithms? The percentage drop in black-owned businesses, the suppression is alarming." Victor laughed low. "Fear does that. We are managing risk. We are sculpting the market. We are the harvesters. And we will plant the seeds of dependency while taking blossoms for ourselves." Elijah held his breath. If someone stepped into the closet, he'd be crushed. If someone turned the corner, he'd be exposed. But the mop bucket hid him partially, and the closet's shadows warped shapes. His heart hammered. He pressed one finger over his lips. The echo of Victor's laughter stung. Then the junior exec said, "But sir, if public exposure came," Victor cut him off. "There is no public if perception is controlled, if data is manipulated, if stories are rewritten. And when they rise, we rein them in." Elijah's throat went dry. His anger flared, but more than anger, grief, and resolve. Because it wasn't only his mother. It was all the mothers, all the children, all the people who were told they didn't matter. He slipped out of the closet once the footsteps passed. Back to the closet of cleaning supplies. He pretended to sort bottles. Then he wheeled the bucket to his destination. But in those minutes, the final pieces of his plan settled in his mind. Ballroom doors opened. Guests drifted in gowns, tuxes. The orchestra struck up a gentle prelude. Victor mounted the stage to applause. Lights glinted off chandeliers. The room smelled of perfume, cologne, fine wine, excitement. Elijah watched from behind a side door. He had dispatched a flash drive and a stage control, a rigged feed. He had arranged for the main display screens, the sponsor monitors, the overflow broadcast feed, all to receive his message. He had coded them to accept the input the moment he inserted the USB in the control room. And the control room was tight, rarely used, high security, access assumed probationary. But he had forged IDs, cloned biometric scans, arranged passes. Because he'd watched habits, built patterns, waited for vulnerabilities. Now, those vulnerabilities were about to become his strength. He heard Victor's voice. Welcome, honored guests, partners, innovators. Tonight, you witness a transformation. Project Horizon is our promise to you. A future where data brings equality, where progress lifts everyone, where we see you, hear you, help you. The audience applauded, soft. Flashbulbs popped. Camera crews angled. Journalists scribbled. Victor smiled. Elijah's hand closed around the USB that he slipped away, down service corridors, past kitchens, past staff who asked if he needed anything. He said no. Just checking containers. Just moving equipment. Just cleaning. He carried himself live, invisible, certain. He arrived in the control room. The door scan accepted the clone badge. Number faded on the wall, 40A. Rows of monitors. Servers humming. Tangled cables. Lights blinking green, red. He stepped carefully, positioned himself behind the panel, put the flash drive into the port, plugged into the secondary input. Backup feed. Mirror servers. The screens flickered. He held his breath. The main network held. The mirror came alive. He toggled switches, shifted input, muted internal override. Then, silence. Then, on every big screen in the ballroom, the face of his mother, projected in sharp relief. Her name, her medical files, her hospital bills. Testimonies from families who had been forced to close down shops. Children whose data had been harvested. Audio recordings. Hargrave executives saying things that sounded like speeches but were cold-hearted plans. Small-town clinics closed. Patients turned away. Lives broken. The gasps were immediate. Phones snapped up. Video began. The audience frozen. The music cut out. Victor walked toward the podium, expecting applause. Instead, his lips parted. Panic in his eyes. Behind the charmed Elijah's voice came over the speakers. Clear. Steady. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. My name is Elijah Dorsey. They called me janitor boy. They said I was beneath notice. They let me scrub away dirt so they would never see the filth of their own making. They built fake dreams over broken foundations. They painted kindness over cruelty. He paused, letting them feel it. Project Horizon is not progress. It's a cage. It's data used to suppress, not uplift. It's false promises to cover real violence. My mother died because systems like this choose profit over people. Because hospitals owned by Hargrave cut corners. Because policies governed by people who believe they were above responsibility. Because people like me were told silence is safety. On the screens, contracts with his signature forged. Budget reports reducing Black neighborhood health funding. Algorithms that directed customers away from Black small business websites. Emails from executives mocking clients, dismissing them, referring to them as noise, collateral. There was a hush, then a stir. Some people wept. Others looked away. Many opened phones to record. Some tried to leave. Others stayed, transfixed. Victor stood frozen, his teeth clenched, his staff scrambling, lights flickering back. The local news feed, streaming live, caught his gaze. Instant reaction. 1 million pixels showed vulnerability. Security barged toward the control room. But Elijah had already slipped out, through tunnels, service shafts, the maintenance corridors. His path was mapped. His escape rehearsal impeccable. He made it back to his service entrance. Out into the rain that had begun to fall. Lightning cracking overhead like sharp applause, he vanished. The next morning, Franklin Heights awoke to something different. Phones buzzed. News vans parked outside Ridgemont Tower. Hashtags trending. Hashtag Project Horizon exposed. Hashtag Justice for 47. Hashtag Elijah Dorsey. Journalists broke stories of hidden agreements. Public protests erupted. Communities once cut off from resources stood together. Black-owned businesses organized legal suits. Local governments opened inquiries. The civil rights groups, the tech watchdogs, the privacy advocates, all converged. Victor Hargrave issued statements. Denials. Claims of misunderstanding. That all data collection was legal. That any suppression was unintentional. That he loved the Black communities. That somehow, criticism was politically motivated. But on TV, videos showed boardrooms, memos, contracts, patterns undeniable. Prosecutors knocked on Ridgemont's doors. Regulators reviewed licenses. Hospitals owned by Hargrave came under inspection. Whistleblowers came forward. The shadow companies, Frontco, Anodyne Analytics, Digital Dominion, all connected to Victor's empire, were subpoenaed. Families whose homes were foreclosed due to manipulated real estate data joined lawsuits. Small business owners whose ad budgets were destroyed by algorithmic redirects sued. The hospital where Elijah's mother had died was revealed to have been underfunded intentionally. Bulging profits redirected. Lobbying dollars buying silenced. In the court of public opinion, Victor faltered. Sponsors withdrew. Board members resigned. Corporate partners distanced themselves. The charity gala where social media influencers once fawned became a symbol of greed. Here is where the powerful shift blossomed, not just Elijah's exposure, but the awakening of many who had lived under shadows. Elijah did not emerge immediately. He stayed hidden, trusted few, let others lead the protests, let others tell their stories. He watched, waited. When the investigations gained ground, he opened a letter on his apartment door, a notice of appointment, a grant from a foundation unknown, a building deed transferred, a plaque installed, Dorsey Institute for Innovation, under anonymous donor. And then one morning, he walked through the front doors of that building, in overalls, mop slung loosely over his shoulder. He was cleaning the lobby floor when children in hoodies with bright eyes arrived. Teenagers with backpacks, college dropouts, hustlers, dreamers, engineers, poets, artists, people who'd been told they didn't matter, people who wanted someone to believe in them. They saw him. He saw them. He didn't announce himself, did not say, "I am the one." But people came. They heard that the Dorsey Institute had labs, computers, free courses, scholarships, mentors, that it was built for the underserved, by someone who understood them. One young woman, Amira, asked him, "Are you the founder?" He nodded quietly. She asked where he got the money. He said, "People who believe justice is worth investing in." She said, "Thank you." He said, "Keep building." Victor Hargrave was convicted. In court, evidence he thought hidden was dragged into the light. Board members testified. Algorithms dumped. Hospitals fined. Contracts voided. Punitive damages. Punishment. He lost everything. The penthouse. The companies. The respect. The power. The brand. And more than that, he lost control. That Elijah's last stand had upended everything. But Elijah didn't go down in the headlines. He was absent from press conferences. He didn't dance in the limelight. He was in Franklin Heights, in classrooms, in storefronts converted into learning labs, in meetings with students who said, "You believed in me." He taught them code. He taught them law basics. He spoke of dignity, of data, of knowing your worth, of complexity, that justice is not delivered by chance, but by courage, not by power, but by responsibility. In his office at the Institute, late at night, he looked at a photograph pinned on a corkboard, his mother, smiling, holding his hand. Under it, a quote he wrote in his messy scrawl, "When they show you power, show them purpose." He smiled, small. Today, Franklin Heights was quieter, in some ways. Not because people gave up, because they had something new, possibility. Because people believed that change could come. Because when the small voice of one underdog rose, it could echo. Years later, children who studied at the Dorsey Institute graduated. Engineers, community organizers, lawyers, people who returned, who rebuilt, who opened clinics, who started tech firms that valued ethics, who wrote software not to exploit, but to liberate, who ran for office, who demanded hearings, who held Victor's successors accountable, who ensured Project Horizon would remain exposed, not buried. And what happened to Elijah? He lived simply. He cleaned sometimes. He visited his mother's grave. He drank coffee on his porch at dawn. He smiled at neighbors. He spoke truth to power quietly, always ready, because justice, in his heart, was not vengeance. It was restoration. The life lesson, heavy but clear: you can walk invisible for years. You can be overlooked, disrespected, dismissed. You can carry grief like stone. But that does not mean you are nothing. That does not mean you are powerless, because power does not only live in titles. It lives in truth, in courage, in the persistence of a good heart, in refusing to let injustice be normal. And when the underdog stands, with purpose, with planning, with unshakable belief, the table can turn. The powerful can tremble. And justice, slow, messy, unavoidable, can be served. Their last stand is not only the moment of resistance. It is the moment they stop being afraid. The moment they understand that hope is not a luxury. It is a weapon. And for Elijah Dorsey, hope carried him. It carried many others. It changed a city, because when hope is all you have, that's when you become most dangerous. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of justice, truth, and power from behind the scene.